indeed. Hi, welcome to Horizon Marmoris, episode 14. No title yet chosen, but I'm sure we'll figure one out as always. Who wants to do the recap for last time?
Quite a bit happened at the beginning, right? There was the Hawk messenger.
Yes,
We left
there was a Hawk messenger coming from the West Virginia company, I think.
Yes, the Virginia Trading Company.
Yes, the West Virginia Trading Company, inviting us to come and basically have a meeting. The Hawk was not a normal bird and clearly magical in some sense. And we're pretty sure we have divined that this is an honest invitation and we shall not be in danger for not going or for not bringing our ward with us. After that, I believe we sailed a bit, spotted another ship, give chase, and pretty sure we saw the ship disappeared underwater. The whole crew freaked out. It was a supernatural effect, but Hall stepped up and gave everyone an energizing speech, asking them to be real pirates and follow the booty to the end of the world or even to hell. And I believe we're about to plunge into the depth of the Underworld, if I'm not mistaken, with the help of one of the artifacts we came across, a key.
Imbued items. But,
Imbued item, yes.
yep, that's about the shape of it. You, have a bit of a timer in terms of, there's going to be a congress of, the company of the Codex in a month's time or so.
Oh,
And
true,
you want to
true.
be back before that, but you've got nothing but time to kill until then to pursue your booty. So we pan the camera back in with everyone standing on the ship deck. A gaggle of crew members all on the deck, many of them in a fragile emotional state, some of them less fragile than others as a result of Hall's truth unveiling, or maybe it was a truth ruling or something, to sort of break through their stupor and the chaos of their quiescence with pure truth. Which made things better and not worse this time. What are we doing?
Okay. So Hull is kind of high off the back of that, and is very much kind of invested in their plan, and so is, I think, kind of animated and looking to get people prepared. We're gonna get ready to pursue them. She's got the key and she's kind of ready to open the gate and everything.
All right. Are you just gonna do it live, or is someone else going to stop you?
No,
Well, I think she's like preparing, like getting everybody to be in ship shape. Like, it's not just
Okay.
let's plunge everybody into the underworld. It's she's not so much barking orders, but kind of like making sure that everybody is getting on with things.
Okay. Raul seems to be in better shape than the rest of the crew, as we mentioned last time, and he, seeing sort of the raised fists and the cries and the excitement, he sort of seems to be resigned that this is what we're going to do, whatever it is this crazy person is ranting about, and is happy for the opportunity to get people back to their stations and direct people to get their hands on something so that they have something to focus their attention on instead of shaking and crying.
Yeah, Dalian is a bit too much occupied trying to calm Captain Baltasar de la Vega. Just being there to try to emotionally support him, to Is it quiescence or disquiet? I don't remember.
Quiescence.
Quiescence.
Yep. And he is responding to your words, your touches, perhaps. Somewhat. But he is kind of being dramatic about it. It's a little bit extra.
I think he has the right to be a little bit extra with all that shit that's happening.
Right. Anything that Wake is doing?
I don't think so. Like, he's helping get the crew in their ship-shape order, but he's rapidly shifting from Pascal into Wake. He is ready to take the plunge.
Okay. Well, before too long, people are, at stations. Raoul has helped Dalian to corral Balthazar up to, the, what's it, the stern near the wheel. I'm forgetting my nautical anatomy at the moment, but the ship is shipshape. Or shipshape is gonna be.
All right. So with kind of Balthazar at the wheel, she's going to sort of move to be behind him, but sort of in a very clear kind of power behind the throne sort of way, and yeah, she's sort of even going to place a hand like on his shoulder, like back of the neck, even like
Saucy.
take us through, Captain. Very much so. And she's got the key. She's holding it and she's ready to use her prime magics to just activate that thing.
Elk can probably feel Mist's somewhat disapproving gaze from behind her neck, Just it's not saying anything, it's just judging silently.
And kind of Miss can feel that Hull knows that. Like it's feeling very much, it's not quite a provocation, but a sort of like, yeah. Hello, Polo. Sorry, the cats are saying hello to each other.
Oh.
But yeah, she's very much kind of this is a power move in her book.
I like it. All right. Well, if there's nothing else anyone does prior to doing the thing, how does turning this key manifest to Hall? Or not Hall to to Hall.
I think she's sort of, to her, she's sort of wielding it as like a wand. It is like this symbol of authority. It is this kind of, I am holding the power here, and she's sort of seeing it as the focus of her will, of like as the kind of guardian of the barrier, as the sort of line between worlds, and like this is her role, this is her authority, and she is focusing that through the key in order to punch through into the underworld.
Okay.
This would be a word of command, I believe the prime spell is. Do you want to roll for it, or
sure, go for it.
I don't think I'm doing anything particularly fancy with it. So I think it's
and
just
it'll take an extra point of mana on top of the non-ruling mana.
Oh, of course, yeah. So I'm using the key itself as a tool, and I'm using using her shadow name as well.
Sure.
And since this is a spell to activate the imbued item, that wouldn't be Paradox itself?
That's a good question. I
I mean, unless you want to do a roll for the imbued item itself. I don't know if you actually roll for that.
Oh, whatever. Just don't worry about Paradox. We'll just assume that it's a loophole for now, and I'll think about that for later.
I didn't catch that. What's going on with Paradox?
I think we were wondering if using Word of Command to activate an imbued item would count as an obvious casting of magic if the spell cast by the item is an obvious casting of magic. But we won't worry about that for now.
Yeah, I think only the spell. Only the yeah.
Okay, cool. So the key, sort of fitting with your imago, almost sort of turns itself in your hand, in your sight, and it turns itself in a way that sort of the space that it occupies seems to shed ash around it, dripping water mixed with ash to form this gray, sort of sooty paste that drips from Hall's hand, and as her hand drips, and drips and drips, everyone on the ship hears a creaking, not of wood, not of metal, but of something else groaning. And looking over the side of the ship, looking down at the water, everyone who sees the surface of the water sees shapes opening underneath the boat, uh, materializing out of the deeps. What appears to be an enormous skeletal shark's maw coming and emerging out of the darkness, moving up towards the ship, opening, screams as it closes up over the ship while the ship sinks down into the water below it, rushing sounds, torrents and deluge of a waterfall, and then nothing as everyone on the ship who is knocked down by these flumes of water suddenly washing over the ship as it sinks into the sea, find themselves laying on the deck, sodden, alarmed, uh, but seemingly intact and still aboard the ship. And as they pick themselves up off the floor, looking up around them, you find yourselves in what seems to be an enormous cavern, a dark underground space. The sun gone, obviously, but the area around your ship sort of suffused by the faint glow from the water around the ship. As the ship seems to move through what appears to be a river of some sort or a stream, the motes of light sort of spark and take light and then die in sort of the water being churned and displaced by the ship as it regains its momentum. On either side of the river seem to be stark gray sands, ashen in color, with dunes sort of trailing off into the or running off into the distance, ending at solid stone walls.
Huh.
Do we see sight of the other ship, the one we were chasing?
Give me a perception check -3.
Okay, perception -3. So
I'm
Wake's
gonna do
gonna
that
be
as. Oh, sorry.
Very
oh,
close. Almost
Wake's gonna be
exceptional on
like
3.
peering further, trying to ignore the walls of this place, and kind of just focus on the quarry they came here for.
Mhm. So it is, aside from the illumination of the sort of light in the displaced water beneath the ship at the moment, it is very dark. But with Wake and Mist's keen eyesight, they're able to see what appear to be sort of disturbances to the shore. Places where the sand is slightly disturbed, almost as if by the passing of something in the river downriver of you, or by what might have been an anchor or some piece of fluvia disturbing the bottom of the river or the side of the river, and you can tell that something has gone this way, that has displaced the river before you have, or the stream, I suppose. Um, but meanwhile, as the people sort of around on the ship among the crew are picking themselves up, looking around, there's general cries of alarm, of confusion, of poorly, or of prayer, of almost wonderment mixed with alarm. Um, might be some hubris, but we'll see about that. Okay, so what are the rest of you? What's the reaction from the rest of you to where you are? I will also note that is very cold, especially given how sodden you all are, but still and utterly silent.
Um, that Mist's reaction is a practical one. He's gonna go fetch some lanterns and light them up and distribute them among the ship.
Mm. Yeah, this task, definitely gets some people occupied and distracted from their situation with the work of, lighting the lanterns, emptying the water out of the ones that were flooded by the deluge. And as you do so, the ship continues to move. You have a vague sensation of descending in elevation, that this tributary that you're following is bringing you down, which isn't terribly surprising given that water flows downhill, right? But it is a noticeable sort of sense of descending.
After, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, while Mist focuses on the practical goals, I think Wake's going to be, after kind of relaying to the nearby people, signs of where the ship is, making sure the right people hear it. I think he's going to be focused on investigating a lot of this place with space sight,
Hmm.
kind of trying to see if he can glean any mystic understanding from it.
Sorry, Emmerich, we're getting a lot of bleed through of stuff.
Like what? What's happening?
Like kind of clunking around, and I don't know if you're moving the mic around or
God
anything.
damn it! No, I shouldn't be sorry about that. Ah.
I don't know if you can turn the gate up or something, or
No, I'm trying. Like my mic is just. It's already done. Like
yeah.
It's very annoying.
Would push to talk help? Maybe. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
help. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, fair
So it
enough.
continues making the noise when the mic is
Right
muted.
now?
I don't hear anything, but okay, cool.
Seems okay now, but yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's fine. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, Hull is kind of Hull has almost returned to the sort of demeanor she was when she first awakened, of just being like this is all very new. This is all extremely interesting, and she is drinking it all in, also with her spirit sight,
Hmm.
and just kind of going like, "Whoa, this is an entirely new experience." It's very like has kind of rushed forward to sort of uh, the railing in front of the wheel, and is just kind of leaning over and taking in this entirely new landscape.
Cool. So I'll start with Wake. Looking around with space sight as the ship continues to, well, descend. You can judge that this is, as especially with sort of the light from the lanterns illuminating more of the surroundings. Um, you can tell that you are in a tunnel rather than a wide open expanse. That this river tunnel appears to uh distances numbers it's probably about 500 yards wide, some distance which is large enough for you to probably see either side of the tunnel, but not sort of narrow enough that you feel cramped. It is a pretty open space, and the ceiling of the tunnel sort of is at least 2 ship length or ship heights above the ship. So to do spatial warps. So looking around the way that you came, behind you, actually, you see an enormous shark's head. The skeletal remains of a shark, more larger than a ship, larger than a house. The most enormous shark that you have ever seen, were that thing to ever have lived. And you came in through, or you remember coming in through its jaws, but its jaws, now that the deluge has ended, are shut fast behind it, and you can see sort of the spatial warping around the jaws of the shark within it, between its teeth. However, with your both mundane and space eyes, you cannot see the ocean outside of the Bahamas that you were in before. And with your ability to judge distances, you can tell that the you are trending down, inexorably, unmistakably down as you follow this or follow this river, stream, tributary, whatever you want to call it.
Uh,
With Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, Wake's gonna take notice of the shark skull, kind of, in a little bit of like, contemplation or awe of it, but is gonna judge better than telling anybody that the way back is shut, as to not overly worry the crew.
Looking around with spirit sight, Hull, the first thing that jumps out to her most immediately is that there is no gauntlet here. Um, there is no resonance here of anything other than the ship. There are, however, bits of essence, sort of, that she can spot along the shore. Looking closely, give me a perception check -1.
We're hitting those fours today, huh?
Very perceptive. Yeah, so looking at the shore, sort of through the through your sight. Normally, looking with spirit sight is sort of a riot of resonance, is of things that are resonant, of thing, or almost like sort of an abstract painting with overlapping washes of colors and patterns and all that. But here it's almost like a blank canvas, an empty, well, I'd say white, but gray canvas, sort of clean of all resonances, but essence stands out here. there are sources of essence that are of a sort of pallid resonance that you can't quite identify. And those sources of essence, with your mundane eyes, you can tell are bits and bobs and objects and effluvia, scraps of ships, half destroyed shipping containers, small. You even see a couple of small sentimental items, a child's toy, a uh, what appears to be sort of the figure of a rocking horse, a old, well-worn looking saw, and normally these things can be resonant, have their own resonance, sort of be fed off of by spirits, but here they are essence, contain essence.
Interesting.
And but of this sort of alien sort of essence to Hull.
Yeah.
As Dalian is sort of lighting the lamps, he sort of feels a shaky hand sort of at his sleeve, and turns to find, Anselmo, the drunk, the troubled drunkard, asking him tremblingly, where are we, sir? Where have we been brought?
I don't know, just. And he's gonna shove a lantern into one. He's gonna keep the lantern and just look around for anything. And yell if you see anyone or anything.
As Dalian sort of turns to leave him and move on to his next task, he sees Anselmo sort of just standing there, looking after him dumbly, holding the lantern, but not particularly possessed of much executive function at the moment.
That's
But
alright. Like,
the ship is navigating. Raoul appears to be, visibly shaken now at this point. Sort of what's it? The whiplash of the skeptic proved wrong. You can tell, sort of, from his discomfited nature that he didn't expect anything to happen, but now here you are. He's doing his game best to keep it together and keep moving down this river without getting beached or running across any sandbars, but the strain is showing.
Mist is going to grab the lantern and go to Hall and Wake. Are they close to each other?
Wake's been making his way sort of towards the other members of the Cabal
Yeah.
after giving the sight of that.
Yeah, Mist is going like very quickly near Hall as she's peering into space and just extreme. Wow! Oh my God! Those dice, number of rolls. And it's
Oh, don't
just
mind
like
me, just seeing how those breaking points are going.
badly would be my. He's just like putting his hand on Hall's shoulder and shaking her a bit to take care of the mage side, and just saying, "I hope you have a plan with this."
Oh, Dalian's the one with death, isn't he?
And
Yep.
Wake's gonna mention, we're gonna need one. The way we got in won't work for the return trip.
What
Well,
were you thinking?
we're doing what we do as pirates. We're chasing our quarry.
Not in this place. Have you seen the crew? They're barely functioning. I can't blame them.
They'll be seeing far worse than this if we're ever to make a name for ourselves. And she looks
Well,
at Wake.
maybe we don't want to make a name for ourselves like that with you. If you continue this
I,
kind of things.
I think they can handle it.
Out of character question.
Mhm.
Several of you have the ability to, or have abilities which could possibly put them more focused to the task, or help them cope more easily. How tempted are you to use those abilities to soothe them or focus them, or in some other way sort of directly make them more inured to the shocks that you're subjecting them to?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Hull's plan was to not to use magic, but just to browbeat people, and to give them a strong leader, a strong hand to motivate them.
Mm.
So wasn't planning on a particular magic to sort of dominate them necessarily, but certainly a non-magical domination.
Of course, Wake with mind, though it's only at 1, is of course tempted, but he's not gonna do it. You know, he
Uh,
he knows that it's an option and that it's always something that he could turn to, but he's kind of set on, no, we're gonna do this mundane, the crew's strong enough. We just gotta help him through it. If worse comes to worse and another sort of strange madness grips them, then perhaps.
Mist has no ability to do that whatsoever, and wouldn't use them right now. He's extremely pissed at. Well, he's pissed at Hull, and he's also extremely scared, and he sees how the crew is. They're not going to be able to make it, in his opinion.
Okay, and just to be clear, out of character, like I'm leaning into
Yeah,
the
no problem.
the sort of this is a mage high on their own power kind of thing. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, cool.
She is rampant, isn't she? Or megalomaniacal? Which one?
Megalomaniacal, yeah.
Mm. So this is very much a use of obvious magic. Generally, sharks don't come in that size, so why don't we have 3 dice for an act of hubris from Hull? I don't know if the megalomaniacal condition alters that roll in any way because I am forgetful.
Let me go check the
So
sheet.
I have an obsession of dominate others,
Mhm.
and an additional vice of selfish right now.
Oof.
But I don't think
Oh
either of them
no.
apply to that.
So,
Um,
would you like to roll
necessarily.
your die?
Um,
Oh my god.
Okay.
I don't think my virtue of certainty would apply necessarily. So
Mhm.
I'm
We
happy
will
with
give you willpower
straight
from
through.
that selfish vice, given what you said about sort of her dominating motivations. Congratulations.
Oh well, I mean, that's what she was planning to do in order
Mhm.
to browbeat people, but
Right.
she's not really done that yet.
Okay, sure. Just give me the 3 dice then.
Yeah, following obsessions removes dice. Virtue
Yeah,
add
and
to
Vice too.
blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Well,
Doesn't seem
just
like
to be
condition
clear, like
dependent, but yeah.
this act of hubris is because I've taken people to the underworld.
Yes. Well, so this act of hubris is, yes, for very obviously exposing them to the supernatural in the sense that you've taken them to the underworld.
Yeah, and like she's doing that not in order to dominate
Mhm.
others. It's
Okay,
because they want to chase after this ship.
Mm,
She's doing what she said she was going to do.
gotcha.
that makes sense.
Oh, 2 successes.
Nice. Yeah, she's fine. Like, gotta pay the bills somehow. Um, Either way, failing or success, understand ramifications, doesn't lose wisdom, but you do get an arcane beat, which I will keep track of.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, this is. I think she's rationalizing it as like, yeah, this is a lot of strain that she's putting the crew under. This is a big leap, but she's thinking bigger picture. She is thinking about them as members of the company, the Codex. She's thinking about them in terms of in this world of you know magical foes who are trying to fuck with us and have an interest in fucking with us. They're going to need to actually be aware of this stuff and kind of harden up. So she's pretty firm in that feeling.
as the ship continues to sail,
Uh,
the channel of the river widens. Despite the fact that there's almost no wind here in this place, the ship, moves almost as if it's still powered by wind. Sails still open, unfurled, not billowing, not billowing, but still filled with a wind that you cannot feel on your skin. And as you do so, the ceilings rise, the walls recede, the sands and dunes on either side of the widening river become ever more expansive and ever more cluttered with detritus. In fact, you even start to see among the scattered bits of wood and remains of ships that you can see poking up, almost like beach shipwrecks. Occasionally, bits of buildings, sort of wooden shacks to larger, handsome stone buildings, sort of laying half buried, askew, partially absorbed by the walls, even sort of sticking out of them in their pallor. Dalian, you out of
Yes.
all of the mages have the best understanding of the Arcanum of Death. What
Yes.
are you sort of, how are
Well,
you experiencing or appreciating or investigating your
uh,
surroundings now that you're
neither
in
for now,
hell?
neither for now. Mist is not. He's not acting very magey right now. He's taking one of the lantern and going to the prow of the ship and just trying to stand as a figure of calm and just giving not giving orders but like saying like just to get on this side of the ship, this one, just check, be patient, be careful, just trying to yeah, basically be trying to show that he's calm and not bothered by, well, not bothered by that, but not affected by that, and just reassure people just by acting a bit
And
stoically.
eventually,
And
a call comes out
I
as Dalian is. Sorry, go ahead.
and he's gonna raise up his time, fate, and death mage sight, and pay a point of mana for mage for death sight, and a point of willpower to have it stay for the scene, just in case something comes out and tries to attack her.
So with your uh path sights, your death and time, you do see that sort of time is flowing normally. You don't see any temporal anomalies sort of affecting the ship as far as you can tell. Uh, with Fate Sight, experience traumatic failure or you can tell that as you watch around and look at the crewmates, sort of seeing the ruins that they're sailing amongst. One or two of them have dramatically failed
Oof.
something. Um, they didn't appear to dramatically fail at holding the lanterns, so you imagine that it's something sort of
Yeah.
internal. No destinies down here aside from, well, actually, is there? How, how's
That's
the
mine,
the
but
cosmology?
A
Yeah.
general
So
like fate, like aura of like, yeah, you're all going down. You're all going down,
yeah,
down,
there's a
down.
sense of inevitability to
mm,
everything Dalian sees around here. Sort of this pervasive mortality, the sort of inevitability of eventual decay, destruction, and of existence ceasing. Particularly when looking around with his death sight. Death almost sort of immediately allows you to sort of see that all of the objects that you can note, the bits of wood, the detritus, the buildings, even, are dead. Uh,
mm,
Dalian is not used to the idea of a building being dead or a shipping container being dead, but dead they are, despite being, solid as can be, as far as he can tell. And as Dalian is looking about, someone, hollers. I think it's Anselmo, actually, still looking generally in the same vague direction that he was, sort of hollers and points out towards shore. And everyone who looks can see a duo of sort of humanoid figures, people, further down the shore, very much at the edge of the river, sort of like scrabbling with nets made of some sort of material, pulling in cast off bits out of the flow of the river, scraps of wood, a little memento box, jewelry perhaps. And before your very eyes, these people, before they can be hailed, are just shoving scraps of wood, rings and necklaces into their mouths and chewing. Dalian with his death sight, and Hull, if she still has her spirit sight up, actually, could tell that
Sure.
there is essence being transferred, that there is, essence being consumed from these objects.
Oh. Probably Dalian would also notice that they are ghosts. They will not be live people.
Well,
yes.
yeah, he can tell sort of at a glance that they are dead. They are ghosts.
Yeah.
The dead. And as sort of people see these folks, they're trying to hail them, call at them, and at the sound of sort of these loud human voices, the two figures on the shore startle like animals and almost ferally scamper, running off, almost on all fours, retreating over dunes, leaving their newfound wrecked treasures behind them.
There's no sign of passage from the boat we saw, right?
That's a
far as
good
we can
question.
tell.
How are we planning on navigating?
Well, Mace would be planning on stopping the boat and going to shore. But he needs to discuss that with the captain and the rest of the crew. So he's gonna go back near Old
Yeah.
Wake and he's gonna look for Balthazar.
Okay. Well, Balthazar seems to have collected himself as well as the rest of the crew. He's sort of aiding in direction of the ship, standing very close to the wheel and Hull, who seemingly they haven't moved. But he's also sort of seeing you quickly approaching and looking at you with hopeful puppy dog eyes, hoping that you have good news.
Come, Captain, we need to talk to Hall right now.
Hello.
Um,
Hull is kind of kind of keeping Balthazar on a short leash, and is eager to discuss a plan, certainly.
So Mace will, I assume Wake is there too.
Mm-hmm.
So Mace is gonna say, "All right, that was a fun little trip, but we need to go back. This is the land of the dead, not of the living. We have no idea where the other boat is, if it took the same passage as us, and we can't stay here. We don't belong here."
I'm assuming that we shared what we saw from the perception check earlier, where we could note that something has been traveling down this river.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but Mace doesn't clearly think that it was a boat. Like, even if it was, he's clearly not concerned for booty right there.
So I think Hull's view of the situation is that there's really only one way we can be going. It's hard to do a 3-point turn in a big ship. If they deliberately came this way, then they must have a way out as well. Like, yeah, okay, we can't just turn around and head back through the teeth, but we still got the key. We find another way out. They wouldn't just be consigning themselves to the underworld just because some pirates approached them. So,
but we might well might well be inside. You realize that?
Might
Right.
well be what? Sorry.
We might as well be consigned here. We very might be. Very much might be. Sorry.
Who's to say?
Me.
I think that's a very, Hull is like this very negative point of view that we're bringing here, which is not, I think, what the crew needs right now.
The
I
crew
think,
doesn't need you. They need the captain. And he points to Balthazar.
and Hull has
You're not the
a
captain. We
hand on
didn't vote you in.
on his shoulder, and it's like, I'm sure the captain agrees.
Balthazar can
But
speak for himself, and we didn't vote you in, Hull. You're not the captain. Balthazar is.
of course, and I agree. I'm sure the captain thinks that it is best to do what we came here to do, rather than scatter to the four winds and turn into whatever those people were on the beach there, scrabbling for
Dead
scraps.
ghost souls.
Wake is at this point, after following the two, he's just staring dead straight at Balthazar now.
Yeah, Balthazar hasn't been having a great day so far, as you all could tell, and I think being sort of in the middle of these two folk, to whom he has a very strong connection to, as a whole, is very clearly sort of tearing at him internally, between sort of his own fear and very obvious terror of where they are. That he has sort of, this hunched body language of wanting to, hide and burrow, but he's trying to, maintain his inner steel, and, or not hide his inner steel, but muster his inner steel, and be strong for the crew, which leads to, after much internal deliberation, he sort of gathers his muster, and sort of breaks away, with obvious reluctance, from the two of you, and takes the wheel, and you know starts directing Raoul, or starts directing people to navigate in a certain direction, taking the helm properly, and giving direction, attempting to navigate. And the way he is attempting to navigate, it seems to be sort of, as Balthazar is narrating, as you're sort of watching him, he's pointing out, from among the bits of architecture on the shore, from among the sort of buildings, he's clearly trying to note, sort of which way he thinks they ought to go. As you approach certain branches, you approach certain turns. It hasn't all been just sort of one straight shot, but some of them clearly seem to have more or different styles of architecture, more buildings, more shipwrecks, and he seems to be under the impression that the more stuff there is, the better the direction there is to go. And he seems to have sort of resolved his paralysis at being caught between you two by finally making a decision himself instead of, trailing along.
All right.
And that manifests in him attempting to make a navigation roll. We'll see how that goes, because he
Can I do any assistance with that?
so Wake / Pascal is a worldly man, so you could roll your own intelligence plus academics roll, +1 to assist.
Not survival, right? Intelligence, academics.
Not survival.
That'd be, I believe, a chance die. Can I resolve
Go for
my
it.
frazzled condition about doing something despite trepidation, or that I do not have the effort for?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you're saying you're...
I'm not sure what the condition does. It just says like when you
Yeah,
do
I think
something.
it
you're gonna be-
was... failing it, that's the normal condition, right? Like or one of the normal resolve conditions, like you elect to fail it
Hmm.
in exchange for resolving it. So we'll just post hoc call it that. Um, yeah, so we'll
So,
just go ahead.
I think Mace is going to try to help by getting Solomon. I always forget his name. The man, the local drunk, the man who tried to ask Mace what was going on.
Oh, Anselmo.
Anselmo.
Ooh.
Okay,
He's go-
Close to a dramatic fail, but not quite.
nice. All right. Well,
is probably just going to try to give him pair of net, and they're going to say just clear the debris and of the ship. If we go to a more cold space, and he's gonna help him just to make sure the boat doesn't get stuck between pieces of wood or swords or anything that might be clogging up the way.
mhm. Okay,
If that
cool.
if that condition still allows me to or makes it into a dramatic fail, I'm also fine with that.
Yeah,
As Wake is trying to help, go in the correct direction, but this is a confusing place, and
yeah,
even with his precise measurements that he's giving from his space sight and knowledge, he might just
yeah.
be, muddling the waters.
Sure. Go ahead and resolve it. I'll throw the beat into the pot. And let's see. Yeah, you are very rapid. You take a number of turns. Balthazar is very certain in this principle that the more ships and buildings you see, that must be the way. Obviously, if you're heading for for safety, civilization, there's more buildings there. But you get the sense that he's really just trying to make decisions for the sake of making decisions rather than be guided by any sort of actual principles. And very soon, all of those traces of cast-offs, of shipwrecks, of structures, sort of abandon you as you find yourselves in an enormous, or rather, you find yourselves in a cavern with long bare sands dunes. The glowing beneath your ship has subsided, throwing you pitched into darkness. But the silence is broken by something other than your own, talk and the sound of the ship. Eventually, when you hear screeching, um, yes, it would have been possible for you to dredge some cast-offs on deck. But you hear screeching coming from above you as everyone looks up, and these winged creatures emerge from out of the darkness, heading for the ship, for its solidity, for its light, and for the bits of wood that have been brought on board by Anselmo and Mist. Everyone sort of screams and scatters as you're descended on by a enormous pack of seagulls, seemingly physical seagulls, but hungry ones, tearing almost sort of at flesh, at clothing, some of them sort of bouncing off the sails. What do you do?
I get up my sword.
Just start,
Um, yeah.
just start swinging on them. Okay.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I gotta go to the restroom, so I will be right back, and you can figure out your avian battle plans.
Hmm.
Got a few improvised spells I thought of earlier that I want to try with ghosts.
Like
Oh
I
what?
yeah.
don't think these are ghosts. I want to do some space, some funky space stuff. This might be a
Oh,
good place.
Fuck yeah.
I might do some I don't know if weaving would let me do this, right? Like full I know 4 could probably do it all the way, but I want to make it harder to hit anyone else that's not Wake. Try to get that steadfast virtue working. Just yeah, absolute, martyrdom.
So I could see that being like a either like a perfecting
Hmm.
of the distance between them and everybody else. Like it makes it more difficult to cross that distance essentially. Like it is that much
Hmm.
further but not towards Mist himself. Sorry, not towards Wake himself.
Yeah, I was thinking of it like a sort of like, to get from that point to that point, you have to pass through this one, right? Like you kind
Oh,
of
right, yeah. I can see that
like
being weaving then, yeah.
it's maybe not like 100%, like it's still possible, but make it meaningfully more difficult enough that it's like Wake starts kind of just being in the way of wherever they would be, which, that's going to be a lot of getting pecked by seagulls if I use it here. But I think it would work. Wake definitely doesn't want, uh much of the crew to come to too much, harm because of wizard bullshit.
Back.
Like it's
Okay.
Hey,
I'm wondering two things. First off is like, is it clear to Hull that the seagulls are going for the cast off that was brought on board?
The it's not clear, or nothing is clear. Um, so it's very chaotic, but taking an amount of time to sort of stop and really watch them, if one decided to do that, would show that they, clear that more of them are interested in the cast off than they are in, the living material flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Mist's reaction is just to raise up his fate armor and begin fighting.
Okay.
Swinging his
I
sword.
have an improvised spell I think I'd like to cast. Uh,
Meanwhile,
Oh, I didn't put down my sword stat.
how do I do this? Um, been so long since I've like used the combat part that I don't know how to. Okay, here we go. There we go. The combat panel should be open, and everyone can roll initiative. I actually can just click it for all of you.
ooh.
Um, Mist, you've pulled up your fate armor, you've
Yeah,
drawn your sword. How are you
so I
trying
have
to
-3 on
deal with this?
initiative. Like, I have a -3 on initiative.
Oh, okay. -3, you said.
Yep.
Did
That
you
doesn't change
roll it
anything. You're
or do
still
we
up
roll it?
first.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So you have an enormous cloud of seagulls around you. They are heading right for your flesh, trying to peck and pull at your hair, tearing at your clothing, tearing at the ship around you. But in particular, many of them seem to be sort of trying to flood over you to get at the bits of detritus and scrap that you have sort of around your feet with Anselmo. Anselmo, meanwhile, has fallen to the ground in a fit of hysteria with seagulls all over him.
Do they look like living seagulls? And what does my mage sight says about them?
If you have your death sight still up, you can tell that
Yes.
these seagulls are clearly dead. They're clearly ghosts, though they are entirely physical to the touch,
Hmm. I don't
not
remember.
immaterial.
Yeah. I don't remember if they would be. No, they still would be made of ephemera, not ectoplasm. Not that Mist would know, so that wouldn't help much. Now that I think of it. Um. If they're ghosts, I could try to know their bane or ban or both, but that would take my turn. Um.
It does seem like valuable information.
It is. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Cast a quick and dirty. Well, not quick and dirty, but
Just a
quick
quick
spell.
improvised death knowing spell.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yep. Um. Just like no spirit, but for death, I guess.
Yep, this would be Gnosis plus death, plus you get one reflexive yantra, unless you want to take multiple turns to cast the spell.
No, not multiple turns. What's the intro where I have? Technically, I have a sword, and I am trying to find their weakness, so I could use my sword as a knife path tool. Or sword path tool.
Kind
If that
of
makes sense.
loose.
I'm literally trying to find their weakness to strike at them. So that's all I was trying to see that. But if not, then I'm not taking any info because I don't think I have any that will help.
Okay. Yeah, just to roll with that, then I guess.
Okay. So I'm definitely gonna use willpower. I have to use a point of mana. Magic. I can deal level 1, potency, introduce 0, 2. So I guess this is. Would I need to cast it on one subject or all the subjects? I guess.
Oh, you can. There's enough of them around and on you that you could. I mean, you could cast an area spell to get all of them, or every ghost in the area, or you could have your pick of one, and assume that they share that characteristic.
Yeah, I'm gonna advance scale and. Sorry. You know what? I'm gonna use my dedicated magic tool because that's gonna wreck paradox for sure.
Okay.
Advanced range. Yes, that's 3. That's 2 of a reach. And I'm gonna. Sorry about that. It's a bit hard to manage all the things. Oh, no paradoxes thanks to my tool.
Nice.
And let's cast a spell. Oh, I didn't put the modifier for the. Oh my. I didn't put the +3, so I guess I need to roll 2 more dice.
Sure. Not 3 more dice?
For my willpower.
Yeah, that adds +3, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. That's 2 successes.
Yep. All right. Well, that's enough.
With a
So
potency of. Oh, it should be 2, not 1.
so Dalian is looking for the weaknesses of these things.
Yeah.
You know
The
that
Bane and the
ghosts,
Ban.
yeah, ghosts sort of are
Mhm.
bound to certain things, have certain substances or patterns of behavior that they have to stick to. The bane of these ghosts is salt. They will take, they are very harmed by salt. And they also have a bane of they must chase and acquire any food they see. Is their ban.
Okay, so Miss is gonna try to scream, get some salt and pull some salt on them or throw some salt at them very loudly. And, that's my turn.
Okay. Moving over to Hull.
Hull hears this and she sees the she sees Anselmo being overcome by seagulls. She sees the crew kind of panicking and fighting back and all this stuff, and she raises her voice and just starts hollering at them to shape up. You're not going to come all this way and die to some bleeding birds. You heard the man. Get down. You get below decks. Get some salt. Anselmo, get the hell off you onto your feet. And it's just like she's got her spirit armor up as well, so she is just like kind of tanking any birds that are attacking her, they're pecking away at stuff, and she just doesn't care. She is just walking through it and shouting at the crew to shape up and go and get some salt.
Give me a presence plus expression or intimidation roll. -2.
Gonna spend a willpower on that. That's a success.
What success is enough. People are happy for any sort of direction, and they're used to hearing Hall barking orders at this point. It's the only bit of stability they've had since they've been plunged into hell. And several of them, run downstairs to try to, get to the salt stores with the cured meats, and some of them try to, help Anselmo up to his feet, despite his blubbering and wailing. And some of them, start to haul that salt up. Wake, what are you up to?
Well, Wake has, as of yet been gathering up, maybe like would there be like a length maybe of chain on the
Yeah,
deck?
probably.
So Wake would be mostly focused on trying to prevent. I mean, these aren't just like normal seagulls, right? They're like noticeably like bigger, more feral looking.
Yeah.
So Wake's gonna be focused on trying to keep the crew safer from them. Allow them to focus without having to be, harassed by seagull monsters. So I'd like to cast an improvised space spell, weaving, to kind of weave Wake kind of to interpose. Whenever one of these seagulls would go for a member of a crew or, someone on the deck of the ship, they happen to find, Wake in the way. You
Yeah.
think that would work?
We've Wake's location to be everywhere on the ship.
Well, yeah, like sort
Yeah.
of like if you're trying to go from A to B, with B being like a member of the crew, they just like they head there and then it's like Wake's in the way.
Yeah, I like it.
And he's gonna do this by gathering up this length of chain and kind of casting it out as a yantra, having it twist and writhe like the space is, to kind of like mark out an area. Let's see. Oh, I just had it. I think I might have accidentally deleted it. All right, space 3. I assume it'd be like duration primary, right?
Yeah, sure.
We'll do advanced scale casting time. So I think this could probably be an aimed spell, right? Since I'm focusing on the area. It's like he's becoming the boundary or the border of the
yeah.
area.
Well, I mean, you're in the area, so it can be a touch spell. Rather, you don't need sensory.
Do I count for sleeper witnesses here?
Um, I think that it would like the way I'm envisioning this, it would be very apparent that something is up. Like
Mhm.
I don't imagine that Wake is like, teleporting around anime style, but that everyone will start to see sort of like more of Wake. Like Wake sort of out of the corner of your eye and then to your right, or maybe sort of both
Yeah,
vaguely
I'd
at the
imagine it'd
same
be like
time.
real trippy to look at. Like space is writhing. It's kind of being wrestled into submission here. Being
Yeah.
made to twist.
So we'll call this a large group of sleepers.
Okay. Dice pool, blah blah blah. Reach. All right. So roll paradox, and I will not contain.
Okay, so that's 2
Oh no.
successes.
So much hubris.
And then
Okay.
here's the spell cast.
Yep.
Oh, hoo hoo.
We are
One is
squeaking
enough.
into this, eh?
Okay, cool.
Oh,
So,
and I wanted to ask, can this fulfill my virtue of steadfast, since Wake is, adamantly getting in the way, being the border for the crew.
yeah, and it's certainly probably could go poorly for you, so I'll give it to you in this case. Go ahead and get your willpower back.
It
To
only lasts for 3
paradise.
turns right now.
Okay. So, I think that so Wake is trying to wrestle space into submission. Distance is a lie and all that, which means that sort of here is there is here. The only difference is a difference of perspective. Um, but Wake's perspective is a little bit different now after he's cast this spell. He sees he has difficulty sort of how do we want to handle this? Distance is a lie, and in the sense that the distance between me and whatever I happen to want should be nothing. So I think I'll give you a condition called what do I want? Like omni-acquisitive. You already whenever you see something and you want it or want to be there, you think about it almost as if it already is yours, or you already are there. And so you every time you use magic to sort of hasten travel or acquisition to the detriment of or to every time you sort of use magic to acquire or get somewhere unnecessarily, you'll take a beat.
Okay.
And with the other reach, I think that what did we give this? Scale, large house. We will bump up the scale to the size of a large warehouse. So now Wake suddenly has the experience of not only fighting these seagulls, but he's also, on shore amidst these abandoned buildings, surrounded by other ghosts occasionally, who they see, him flickering in and out of their sight. He's under the water. He is in the sky, and it's very disorienting. So take a -1 to physical actions while in this combat.
And I'm also going to spend the mana as Wake's like perception stretch to activate space armor as well, and kind of, ride the writhing as well.
Okay. Which brings
I'm
us
seeing
to. Go ahead.
I'm seeing double 50 million wakes.
There's a
Something
lot
red
of seagulls
balloons.
into it.
Okay, cool. So as Wake starts to blink in and out of reality everywhere, sort of disorienting everyone, I'll ask you for the Pubis after this. But the ghosts are going for blood. And since normally they would be attacking a bunch of people to try to peck at them, but Wake is interposing himself, Wake will get all of those at him.
Ooh.
Oh dear. Oh, I need to take your defense into account. What's your defense?
Athletics 0 plus. Normally it'd be 1, but I have space armor, so 4.
Okay. Cool. So trash those.
Then -1 for successive attacks.
Cool. Okay, so you are getting pecked and pecked and pecked, and that comes to a total of 5 bashing damage. As you are just sort of being sort of bluntly shredded. It's not lethal at this point because of sort of because it's not. But you are taking a wallop, and we'll move up to Mist, who returns back up to the deck with as much salt as he could get his hands on and carry, seeing Wake blinking around everywhere.
What if we cover Wake in salt?
Now you're thinking with your noodle.
Season the sacrifice.
Dramatic for sequels, but
I don't know. I wouldn't want to mess with sequels,
yeah. What is Mist doing? You there, or you there, Emmer?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was my turn and my mic was down. I think... What could I do?
I think Miss is gonna go quickly next to Almanso and just take a lot of salt and try to basically throw it at the seagulls.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus athletics roll minus, well, not minus their defense because they're everywhere. But a -2 for an improvised weapon, I guess.
Sure thing. I'm spending a point of willpower on that.
Oof.
That sucks.
Yeah, you throw the salt. The seagulls squawk and fly out of the way as you chuck it. Whether it's because of the salt or because of you hollering and screaming, who knows? And that brings us to Hull.
Have any of the other crew returned with salt as well?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of folks coming up, sort of behind Dalian. Maybe one of them even carrying a barrel, the others just with handfuls.
She can see what. I mean, everyone can see, but she can see what Wake has been doing, and is like directs them to take their salt to Wake and just like try and throw it on the seagulls, where they're kind of concentrating there. Hell, just throw it on Wake, like just get the salt there. Where Wake is.
Okay. They do so, and over the course of your turn, start throwing salt, start, hollering, start adding it to Wake's sort of warpings of space. And yeah, so I think Wake is empowered and equipped with salt, and the roll for the crew. And the seagulls start squawking, screaming, and are clearly very unhappy as some of them even start to burn. You can see sort of leaking from some of the seagulls that fall to the ground or fall to the deck after having a big bunch of salt thrown into their faces, that they're leaking out this pale white substance as they flail about on the deck, clearly in a great amount of pain, but not bleeding in the sense of blood, but bleeding this goop. And next we have Wake.
After the initial disorientation of the warping, kind of twisting around in this mess of space, having salt everywhere, he's gonna try to get more used to it and dodge the seagulls. Still like take their time, prevent them from hitting other people, but kind of like minimize their pecking.
Okay, so you're taking a dodge action, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, go ahead and roll your dodge dice pool, 4 times.
Okay. And it's reduced by 1 for each roll. So the first one, right? So it'll be
Yes.
8 and then 6 and then, okay.
Right.
Do I reduce it for the disoriented condition? And does that apply before or after the doubling?
I think it'll apply after. Yeah.
Alright, so here is the first dodge. The second one. Third one. And the fourth one is just whoop.
Nice. Still successful, though. Okay, cool. So... 1... Oh dear. Okay, so you are dodging like your life depended on it. The first couple of volleys, pretty much, you're whipping them away with the chain, you're ducking, you're weaving, spaces contorting around you to redirect the seagulls as they fly screeching, furious, confused, but a few of them, on one instance where you sort of lose your footing, where you got 0 successes on that roll, that happens to be the one where you just take a face full of several of them, and you take
This
6
music
bashing
plays.
damage.
This music plays as the seagulls fly into Wake's face.
Yeah.
It has the dramatic swell.
Yeah. So, in addition, you are
It's gonna take me
suffering
down.
from the blinded tilt.
I gotta
if you
roll
stay
the
conscious.
losing consciousness, right? I don't think
Right.
that's happened in a while. That's a what? Stamina plus resolve.
Something like that. Clearly, didn't think it was worth it to read back up on the combat rules if I thought it was a possibility of having combat. Let's see.
Fallen laws. Let's see. Combat.
Arm, injury. Wound penalty is stamina. It's just stamina.
It's just stamina. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I spend willpower on this?
I think so. Yes, you can.
No.
Nice. You also don't suffer wound penalties to that roll, but I guess that's what the... Oh no, that was for the willpower. Yeah, you don't suffer wound penalties to the stamina roll, which is, I guess, funny that it adds it automatically. So you can roll 3 more dice.
Okay.
Maybe it'll get you an exceptional. I don't think it does anything, but wouldn't that be fun? So close. Okay, yeah, you stay conscious. Notably harmed, but also blinded, as you've got, scratches and blood leaking into your eyes and feathers, which brings us back up to Mist.
Mist is going to cast another improvised spell on this. A compelling one. To force... First, would throwing one of the cast off overboard works. Without being a reflexive action.
Would what? Sorry.
Throwing one of the cast off board into the water.
Yeah,
Would that be a
sure.
reflexive action? Okay.
Yeah.
So he will throw one of them, and he will use a death compelling to basically force them to follow their bane for this one.
Okay, I like it.
There's gonna be paradox for sure. So I'm gonna use my
Nothing goes wrong with when paradox happens.
no,
Everything's fine.
never. Advanced skill, casting time, duration.
Look at Wake, he's doing great.
And range, that's 4 reach. That's 3 overreach.
If you're
Ooh,
casting an area spell, you are in the area, so I don't think you need it to be sensory range.
Good point.
You can just sort of touch the area.
So that's still 2 overreaches.
Okay. Well, you only have Gnosis 1
One
or 2,
yes.
so it's fine.
No paradoxes.
Nice. And did you add the extra die for the spell you'd cast previously in the scene that provoked
It
paradox?
didn't occur paradox, though.
It provoked. No, that's 1E, right?
I
think it's every
s-
spell that provokes paradox.
You know what? I have the book open. Let's see.
I'm
It's,
pretty sure it's provoked. Yeah.
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 Okay, so it didn't provoke paradox. So, damn, that's sorry. I'm a bit confused right now.
That's fine. Just roll one more die, or yeah.
All
Cool.
right.
Still no paradox. Go ahead and roll your spell.
I guess it's gonna be wisdom.
No, I don't think it will be.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let's roll. I'm using upon willpower again. Let's hope it works. Ooh. Nice.
Nice.
I almost have number
Again,
9 willpower left.
Close to exceptional. But so the way I'm imagining the imago of this spell, correct me if I'm wrong, is that sort of these seagulls all need to, they all have
Yes. The other
command
fate
that they
of,
must follow food wherever it goes, and you're just sort of,
Mhm.
provoking
I'm-
that instinct in them, and also sort of
Yep.
ensuring that they all recognize that what you've thrown is food.
Yes, it's basically tying the strands of fate and immovability of his place and decay. If they need food, they
Yeah.
have food.
And
If
as
the fate of his cast off is to be eaten, and he's throwing it into the water.
I like it. So as it splashes into the water, all of the seagulls sort of, as one, shriek with primal hunger and fly as almost a single fluid body, like a school of fish, over the edge of the boat, almost knocking Mist over, even. Give me a stamina and dexterity roll.
Very well. I'm not too bad at those.
Okay, you manage to stay standing as they, rush past you. Maybe you duck behind cover, maybe you brace yourself, but they all sort of splash down into the waters next to the ship. You hear their squawking and shrieking, and you see the water sort of emerging in this huge plume from the sheer pressure and volume of gulls entering the water. And then silence. And as you look over, you see in the water sort of feathers floating and dissolving. Flesh, wings, sort of legs bobbing out of the water briefly before sort of discorporating into more of this white, milky substance that some of the bleeding seagulls had left on the deck.
Phew! And I just checked. You're right. Every paradox rule, it's after the first is another paradox dice. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, in the same scene, that is. And I think that's the end of that combat.
Phew!
So, presumably everyone,
Yay.
picks themselves up, picks Anselmo up, who is clearly not doing so great. But
Yeah. Dalian is gonna pick up Osama and escorting on the deck to his hammock and giving some grog to just he's had a rough day.
and I think that Hull, who's probably standing nearer to Balthazar, can see that this has clearly sort of shaken his confidence in his navigating skills, as well as somewhat in this enterprise. But you can also see Wake sort of blindly tottering around bleeding, being helped by Raoul and the other crew members whenever
Yeah,
they
his-
can get a hand on him.
His
they're
defense
finding
was
that
still up
quite
for a little
difficult.
bit because he did not, see the seagulls fly away. Just heard the splashing.
Hull is going to look Balthazar in the eyes and kind of give him a good solid stare and say, now isn't the time to falter.
Give me a presence plus persuasion roll. Minus nothing because he's connected to you.
I'm going to spend willpower as well. I'm really trying to get 3 successes here because still got that assertive condition.
Okay, but yeah, so he nods, and he sort of reaches a shaking hand out to the wheel, and another shaking hand reached out to the wheel, and he seems to, sort of, find his mettle again, but also seems to be, reconsidering his previous approach now that he's calmed down and is no longer, trying to fill the silence by babbling about architecture or about his worldly knowledge he doesn't have. Meanwhile, Wake, when you said that your defenses are staying up for another couple of terms, do you mean sort of both the spell imposed warping space around you and the ship, or just your mage armor?
I meant more like just like I mean, he took a lot of damage there. It's more like his mental stuff. Like, since he didn't see the seagulls fly away, the spell only lasted 3 turns, so it's gonna go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it should have only lasted 3 turns, shouldn't it have?
Mm-hmm.
And as Wake sort of waits for the spell to end, he knows he has it was short-lived, sort of the imago of it and the amount of will he put into it. But he finds himself still sort of moving between the prow and the stern with a step and into the hull, and he has to sort of stop, slow down, and make a conscious effort to move in a conventional way, as after his working had ended, the effect seems to be ongoing.
And with that, combined with the injury he's sustained, he's trying to focus on, letting other members of the crew lead and assist him. Maybe get them bandaged up.
Okay. Yeah, so what's the next order of business after folks have been bandaged and Wake gets a cool new eye patch?
Hull thinks that Wake needs to take over a bit more with navigation from a magical perspective.
Mist is gonna, we don't have doctor on board, right? So Mist is gonna ask Wake if he wants him to take a look at his eyes, see if he can do anything about it.
Can you do anything about it? Like,
I have medicine, maybe.
Oh yeah, like if you mean,
knows?
I thought you mean like a
No,
a
not
spell
magic.
cast thing. Oh, for sure, yeah.
So I guess
You could attempt to perform first aid, help that bashing damage to recover quickly.
he's gonna do that. Try to clean the wound,
Okay.
make sure nothing is.
So that's Okay, so I think I'll let you do a medicine check to heal the bashing damage, and if you are successful, speed up the loss of lethal damage. Normally it takes 2 days per dot. Give me a dexterity plus medicine -4 check.
And I'm gonna be right back. Like 2
Yeah,
minutes.
it's probably break time also as soon as you do that roll.
Using
Oh, then I'll
willpower.
wait for this then. Did you want me to roll a hubris as well?
I did. Give me.
Wait.
So, give me 3 dice.
I only roll 1 dice. My bad. My god.
Yeah, that's a chance die. Was it supposed to be a
That's-
chance die?
No, it was not.
Okay, well that's a success then.
-4. Hold on, -4. Hold on, I need to do math. Ugh. So, yeah, I needed to roll another die. So I'm just gonna roll it. You never know. Nope, 1 success. Still
Okay,
enough.
yep, that's enough. So the bashing damage will go away, and Wake will have a slightly quicker recovery of that first point of bashing damage, or of that first point of lethal damage. And why don't you give me 3 dice of Hubis?
I gave it right above 1 success.
Oh, yep. Oh, and wound penalties still. That's funny.
Yeah, so I just added 6, so that it would be 3.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll throw an arcane beat on for you, because hubris is fun. And how does Wake sort of reconcile himself with what he did? Obviously he exposed some already shaky crew members to yet more impossibility. Several of them are already starting to sort of, you're seeing that now familiar sensation of their eyes kind of glazing over.
Wake kind of considers that it's better for them to have to wrestle with this impossibility, and maybe have to push on through it mentally than getting physically attacked. He's willing to push on forward into hell. He's trying to follow Hull's example. But also he definitely doesn't want to see the members of the crew who aren't as used to this sort of stuff, suffering or getting really indisposed because of it.
Okay, sounds good to me. Well, we'll take our break then, and we'll be back at 10 till the hour.
Right.
All right.
So I'll see y'all
Right
soon,
back.
and
Bathroom break.
back in a bit. welcome back. We're gonna continue playing the game. So before the break, we had fended off some spectral seagulls. Dalian sort of baited them into going off the side of the ship and into the water, which apparently caused them to begin to dissolve in the waters beneath the ship, which is probably quite alarming.
Apparently, ghost seagulls are made of sugar.
So we had been chatting about how do we navigate now.
I remember Hull said something about a approaching wake.
Yeah, so I think like as Mist is seeing to Wake's wounds and stuff, Hull is kind of there, going like, okay, this is maybe not something to leave to the captain. It's a little out of his depth here. So, is there something that you can do with your mastery of space to find where the ship that we're chasing has gone?
Wake's gonna think on it and say, then ask like, you want to use, magic to solve this issue.
Unless you've got any other ideas.
No. Should we clear it with the captain?
I don't know what you're asking, but now it's not like you've taken his opinion into consideration. It's a bit late to start.
I think if we can present the captain with a fait accompli, that would work. Figure out which way we need to go, and we can direct him. It'll be simple.
All right.
Mist
can I
is
do
not answering, is just looking at all with disappointment.
You okay, bro?
She's just like stone facing him.
Yo, you okay, bro?
Can I do a quick and dirty for that?
Yeah, sure. Just a space, knowing or space unveiling would allow you to see far and wide. Though the lack of light will probably be a bit of an impediment.
Would I be able to kind of trace the sympathy of this ship at all? I don't think so, right? Or
I don't
like how much
think that-
information would I get from this magic? Is it just enhancing my senses, or am I kind of like hooking on to the trail?
So I think that you could probably sort of. So these are tunnels. It's not a big, wide open plain, and they seem to be leading in a certain direction. So I think that probably some sort of space spell to
'Cause
find the way.
I feel like the
look for
nuclear
traces.
option. I feel like the nuclear option would be like space perfecting, since there's this downward pull, right? You just make that stronger, right? But I don't know if that's that's like the big magic. I don't know if we want to pull that out.
I mean, that would find wherever the lowest point is, sure, but I don't know if that's what we want. I'm talking specifically about finding the ship that we came here chasing.
Yeah.
Are
So
really
you could
still-
find.
Oh, sorry.
You could sort of do the enhancing your senses to find traces of it. I don't think that you have sympathy to the other ship to cast anything sympathetically, unfortunately. But you could sort of find the way and sort of look for traces of them,
If could
or
could I
maybe
do
even lead
a
you out of danger.
conjunctional spell with maybe with essence, like to do some essence unveiling with this spell, so I'll see further and also maybe be able to trace essence.
Interesting. Yes. What's sort of the You certainly could. I'm just trying to get at sort of are you expecting that clause, the essence finding, to buy for you, other than just knowing where their essence is, or where there is essence.
I guess I don't know much about the Underworld. It might be everything's essence. It was gonna be kind of like to look for if these, these cast off things seem to have that, like, the birds seem to turn into that sort of goo. It seems like the stuff that's valuable is kind of made out of essence. And if this is another ship, I guess Wake was just kind of thinking,
Yeah.
Wake would
So
think that you find
notably,
the treasure, right?
the ship that you are on is not made of essence the same way that the castaway bits that seem to have somehow made their way down to the surface are.
And it would also help, like, maybe avoid more seagulls, since Wake would not want to run into those again. So being able
Sure.
to spot them.
Right. Yeah, go ahead and give me a spell. If you want to stat it up properly with Yantras and everything, you can, but you can also do quick and dirty if you desire.
I think I'll do quick and dirty. Can I call upon the Mastigos symbol of kind of the winding rivers, since this is water, kind of a still and formless water here. Oh, hello.
Yep.
Can I add that as a +1 yantra?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So, opening your senses outwards, you look and look and look beyond the circle of light cast by your ship, by the lanterns, and look into darkness. But the darkness is occasionally, you don't have sort of supernatural dark vision as a result of this. You can't sort of see details of things that you wouldn't normally be able to with your mundane eyes. But amidst this sort of sea of darkness stretching below you, in this tunnel, this network of tunnels, you see pockets of light, bits of movement, fluorescent fungi, which sort of pop up out of crevices, bits of sort of fluorescence in the water, and give me a perception check. No penalties.
I will spend willpower on this one.
Cool. And below, carving a steady path, you see what looks to be a ship. Lanterns ablaze, with faces etched with fear and tension, but not panic. Looking around, surveying the wide waters which they sail upon. Far wider than the tributary that you're currently on, but connected to it. And the waters below and around them float with bobbing seeds along the surface, leaving the wake of this ship clear of them. And in the as this ship sails, it seems to be sailing towards a port. A building, lights, sound, figures moving about, and with docks jutting out into the river.
And so with his eye half lidded, Wake's gonna kind of unsteadily rise to his feet, trying to focus on, stopping any of that blinking or twisting. And he's gonna say, "I see it." It's
Hull is going to guide him to the helm.
it's docking. There's a place. A whole port town.
Probably full of ghosts.
Do they look like? Does it look like it's full of ghosts? Right, it's a ghost. It's a ghost town.
You can see, well, I mean, this was a conjunctional essence, so you can see you can see essence, sources filled with essence, containing essence, consuming essence, sort of blinking from it, like, lights from a building, from windows, almost.
Mist is gonna look at us and can you hand me the key? I'm gonna try to have a look at it if we need to. See if I can figure out a way to get out of there after it's.
I think Hull is amenable to that. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't hear. Sorry. Yeah.
Hull is amenable to that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's no reason to hold the key for herself.
and just say thank you, and he will, examine the key because I don't think he had a go at it.
And Wake is just is spreading the knowledge of where the ship is from their current location through the winding tunnels.
Yeah,
Okay,
and you're able to navigate, without problems at this point, given that you know where you're going and you can identify any obstacles or dangers. And you no longer have wound penalties. So, you're sailing, you're making your way. What is the plan? For when you eventually, catch up, when you enter this wide river, when you get towards the ship.
So it's docked now. What if we stole it? Like, while they're aboard, as it were, while they're disembarked, presumably they're getting off the boat.
You do realize that whoever is on this boat obviously has the same capacity of us, and is obviously more, at least, but was not, we can assume it's not the first time we came here. And we're already wounded from a fight with ghost signals.
Well, it could be that they only have, someone like, oh God, what is her name? Our ward, Georgia, thank you. It could be someone, a half seer like Georgia.
The crew was fearful when I saw their faces. They very likely they could also be wounded.
Like you are. And like some of the crew is.
Would we be able to drive both ships? Or sail both of them?
Based on your sailing knowledge, it would be tough, but doable. To crew one of them with a skeleton crew. Well, I mean, with the numbers that you currently have, not counting any, additional help you might pick up.
Such as actual skeletons. Would we be stealing it stealthily? Or are you expecting us to just go in, guns blazing?
I think try and swoop in, and cut the lines and get the boat out of there before they know what's going on.
Mist, your thoughts?
I think this is a stupid idea. This whole thing was a stupid idea, and the crew is paying the price for it.
And would you have them have paid that price for nothing?
Absolutely, if it means getting them out of there alive and not dead here.
And
Possibly,
what do you
yeah.
propose we do? Just try and scrabble around and leave now and
So what are you supposed
hobble
to do?
back to the world?
So for you, yes, go back to the living world. You would propose getting in there, scooping in by some unknown means because we don't know who might be watching or what. Getting the boat, getting 2 boats out of here without any idea of where we go, and with an angry people at us.
We'd be leaving them stranded.
It's a port town. They can find another vessel.
And we would be well away before they could even barter or steal another vessel. It's
You don't know that. You just assume everything will go through. Will
The
be
vessel
going
would be
well.
quite
Look
a
at
haul
the crew. Look
if
at
he managed to get it back.
look at. We already have holes. We already have those things floating from the river. Right now we have Wake that's half blind, half the crew gone nearly mad, and I saw them. They're not doing well, and we are in over our heads.
If they're not doing well, maybe they could use a victory. Something
No,
concrete.
they could use getting out of here and be back to the living.
and when we're back in the world of the living, what, we just disband? We're not pirates anymore because, well, some seagulls attacked us. Oh, we saw we saw another world and decided it wasn't for us. Are you saying that all these men are just gonna decide that the pirate life isn't for them and go and settle down in a nice farm somewhere? What are you proposing here?
I'm proposing
Why do
we
you
go
think-
back and let the crew just rest from what they've just encountered because of you.
Why don't we ask the captain? You're intent on deciding that everyone wants to limp home with their tails between their legs. Why don't we ask the captain? Why don't we ask the crew?
Very well.
Why don't we put
And
this?
Mist is gonna shout, "Man, who's here want to go back to the living world, and who's gonna want to stay here and chase this boat?"
Oh, I like that. I like a vote. I like the captain.
All right, look, we'll present both sides, and the captain can preside over a vote.
Good.
Right. So, do you have anything else to say for your plan, Mist? Or if Mist is silent, then
No,
the floor
Mist
is
is
open to
gonna-
Hull, I suppose.
Mist is gonna just explain that from his point of view, the best things to do is to try to focus on a way to get out of here. And did I find anything on the key, or do I wasn't here when the key was gotten.
Right.
I don't know what we can do.
So, what you
Nice.
know is that the key opens irises. It is a conjunctional space and death effect, which opens deathly irises. It doesn't create them out of whole cloth, but it opens
Okay.
ones that it finds, similarly to the one that you went through. You don't
Alright.
think that it's tied to a particular, deathly iris. If there was another one you found different from the one you came through, it could open it, or it could open the same one.
Alright,
and that's sort of
so-
about what you get out of it from scrutinizing it.
He's gonna present the key and say, "This key can open passage between the world of living and world of the dead. I say we try to find a passage back to the world of the living and stop trying to chase a feral booty or into the land of dead before we lose our life here."
Okay, and I presume at that point there's some, rumbling. There's some talk. People looking at each other fearfully. Some people, grumbling, and there's sort of a moment of silence or there's space for someone else to interject.
Hull is immediately going to jump on that and say, and we absolutely aren't going to stay here. No, of course we want to go back, but we want to go back victorious. Is anybody going to believe that we walked into hell and got pecked by some birds and then tucked our tail between our legs and and came limping back? No. There's bounty for the taking. All I'm proposing is we do what we came here to do. What we all understood we would be doing. We know where we're going. There is a port full of, the treasures of Hades. We could take an entire ship out from under their noses. Think what they'll say will be legends. We could sail back, I'm forgetting the names of seas now. We could sail back to Nassau with a whole ship's worth of treasure, snatched from the jaws of death itself. Or we could limp back now and tend to our, beak wounds.
Okay, so I will do some rolls on your behalves. As there's also grumbling and conversation and looks at the end of Hall's speech.
And I definitely want to use assertive on that if I do get 3 successes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that was an exceptional success then for Hall. A normal success for Dalian, so then I got another roll for the crew. Okay, so as Hull sort of stands up, imposes her presence, and sort of browbeats the crew, Mist seems to also be sort of trying to pull everyone towards his side. There's some conversation, there's people milling about. I imagine that the two of you sort of have opportunity to, answer questions or sort of reassure people or try to convince people, but eventually, people seem to find their nerve, and it narrowly comes on the side of continuing. But narrowly, so you get the feeling that things could change if this victory does not come.
Well, that's fine with me.
Yeah, Mist is gonna just go sulk into his corner and do some divination on by himself.
Okay. Any particular questions that he is asking?
Oh yeah, of course. Let's roll first. Let me roll 2. Okay. He's gonna just reflect. Just make his coin. How do you know? Like spin his coin or just flip it up and up again and again, and just basically wants to know if I guess I can go for somewhat a lot of reach for this one, since it's one of my level 2 arcana. Hold on, sorry, I don't know if shit works in like the magic things.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to cast the spell and changing factors on my spell in the magic section. I don't know what level means. I don't know what what.
So
level is the dot level of the spell. So if it's just
Okay.
a knowing spell, it's level 1.
Oh yeah, it's level 1. Okay. So anyway, I have 1 reach for instance, and I guess 1 reach for questions. Questions.
For making them more specific, you mean? And also you get a
Yes.
number of questions equal to potency. Mind.
I have 2 in time. Potency is a pretty factor, so I guess that's
They'll
got
be.
my brain's
It'll tell you how many free steps in the primary factor you get in the
Okay.
sheet also.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. 3 potency 2. Okay. And a tooth path is +1, right?
A what?
Tooth path. A tool path.
Is +1, yeah. Path tool.
Path tool, yeah. Oh. That's an exceptional success. It's one of my praxis.
Good. So you get a point of willpower back just for it being an
Nice.
exceptional success. What would you like back for the exceptional
Condition.
success? Okay,
Because I
yep.
don't think I would benefit from everything else, really.
Well, you could take an extra step in the primary factor. You could gain back all the
No.
mana you spent on the spell +1. Other
No.
things, but condition is also fine. So you're trying to. What is the intent with which you're casting the condition?
So I have. It didn't put the potency like. Oh well.
Yeah, you gotta change the drop down to like it'll tell you
Just-
how much free your free level
Okay,
is,
yeah,
but you
okay. I
have to
thought
change
it
it to
added
that.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that's my bad, I guess. I want to know if the people we're pushing are dangerous, and if we will make it if we follow whole plans, make it out of it.
I will give you a condition. We've got conditions that have fallen off, so I'm removing the moths one because we haven't done anything with it. But I'll give you a condition called
Do I get the arcane bits for the moth one?
Expeditious Retreat.
Oh, like the name.
So essentially, you're trying to find sort of the path forward, the safest path forward, how to get everyone out of here alive. And so the next time that you take an action related to sort of getting to safety, you can either... Yeah, you can burn the condition to automatically succeed.
That seems fair. Yeah.
And you'll get a beat out of it.
Nice.
Colon, not semicolon. Okay. So ask your questions.
Oh, so the question is, are the people we're pursuing dangerous, I guess?
You spent the reach for additional detail, right?
Yes.
The answer is that there are some dangerous beings among them.
Any further detail from that?
That's the answer you get, that some of them are dangerous.
So basically, the answer is just yes.
But not all of them.
Okay. And we will make it out of the Underworld by following the plan. Take the other boats.
There are many ways this could go. So like if you hadn't spent the reach, it would be an unclear. But with the reach for additional detail, you know that some of the obstacles which face you are that the obstacle of taking control of the boat, of piloting the boat, and making it unmolested to a gate. Those are the primary challenges, which could change how things go.
So is it significantly it will significantly be harder?
It's possible, but your divination cannot sort of tell you binarily whether you will succeed or not with that level of detail. Binarily is not a word, but you get what I mean.
Okay.
Okay, and with that, we've got 38 minutes left in the session, so we've got time for you to all notice as your words in this tunnel start to echo more severely, to hear sort of the rushing of more waters, to see the shores start to draw further and further away from you as you descend, inexorably descending, until those first bobs as you cut through the darkness of a sound hitting your hull, hit your ears, and then another little bump, and a bump, and a bump, and looking over the side of the ship, you see several small seeds bouncing around in the water below you, seemingly bobbing up out of the waters, and sort of as you cruise lazily through them, you find yourselves on what one could properly call a river, a large, wide river, with short, not a sea where you couldn't see the shores on either side, but the waters are wide and deep here, more so than the smaller tributary you had been sailing on. The ceiling raises of this cavern, up beyond the reach of your lamps, as you find yourselves spotting, off in the distance, some small twinkles of light. And with your space knowing spell up, Wake, you know that this is sort of the port town that you had noticed, and that you will be coming up on it within the hour.
He's gonna, gesture towards it. I assume that he's, if Balthazar's still like steering the ship over that way, with maybe some of the other mages. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Uh,
that Raoul is sort of standing up with you at this point, looking at the three of you sort of even more curiously. You know that sort of as you've become closer and closer to Balthazar, Raoul has noted but largely been silent about sort of this, compact the four of you have. But you can tell sort of by the look on his face that he has something he wants to ask, but has decided it would be unwise to.
Wake's just gonna, gesture towards that, say, it's about an hour's off. There's the town. And then I think he's gonna like confront Raoul about that. He's gonna say, what's on your mind?
Even if we find what we're looking for there, will it have been worth it? All of them? And he gestures to the crew, many of whom are clearly sort of still visibly shocked and disoriented. Some of them don't even remember where we are. Talking to them, they seem to have almost forgotten most of the journey that brought us here, and I have to keep reassuring them that we're not dead. Why has this happened to them?
Wake's just gonna remain, passive faced and say, when we get back, we can give them some shore leave. I'm sure they'll be fine. I believe they can handle it.
But why? Why is this the way that they've reacted? I've seen men under pressure. Uh, Young men, old men, no matter how much experience at sea, everyone reacts to stress, to violence, to the ardors of being at sea differently. But them, all of this witchcraft that you've demonstrated, shown off, they all react to it the exact same way, with denial, with forgetfulness, with hysteria. What is this?
The usual response. It's how people unused to this sort of thing tend to get. I'm more surprised that you apparently don't react the same way.
I think this is probably like takes him slightly aback in that he hadn't considered that he was special in any way, but is now realizing that, yeah, it is strange that he hasn't reacted in this way, and that disquiets him rather than reassures him. You're speaking in generalities again, in vaguenesses, in weasel words.
Would
When
it
will
reassure?
you when will you
Well,
tell us what this is in firm terms?
Wake will cut him off before he finishes the sentence and say, "Would it be more reassuring to know that I don't have the answers? Would you prefer to tell me that would you prefer for me to tell you that I'm not sure why people react this way?"
I think he's silent at that and, looks back over the other side of the ship.
Wake's just gonna, return his gaze out towards the distant lights, and pause a moment. We won't know if it's worth it unless we get there. I'm sure that it will be. But we've got to make it there first.
And at this sort of, he looks to say something, but he sort of startles suddenly when he hears sort of the creaking of rope, and sees that at the prow of the ship, Anselmo has something small and ball-like in his hand, and seems to be, about to eat it. And he sort of, shouts and rushes off to successfully stop him from eating whatever it is he was gonna eat, because it certainly didn't look like hard cheese or cured pork. Um,
And Anselmo was about to eat something?
yes.
Oh no.
What stuff is this?
So I think probably Mist is closest based on what he was doing at the time. And he could see that Anselmo like had pulled up one of the seeds from the river, and
Oh yeah, no, he's
complaining
gonna.
about hunger, was about to start chomping into it.
Yeah, he would have rushed too, but try to not have him
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, I think that if I think that Raoul like knocks out his hand and then starts telling him, haven't you, complaining about how much of an idiot he's always been, etc., etc. And then Anselmo will complain that he's starving and he hasn't eaten since this morning, and he's clearly sort of out of sorts. In terms
Caramel.
of sort of game mechanics, I'm sure that Wake would be able to tell that he's taken multiple hits to his integrity over the past number
Ooh.
of hours. And the ball, little seed from the river continues to roll across the deck,
Mist
down
will
towards the prow.
catch him. Mist will catch it before anyone gets it and wants to eat it too.
Okay. And what do you do with it?
Pocket it somewhere. He doesn't especially. He's interested to know what it is, but right now that's not the thing to do, and he's just gonna go near Anselmo and gently say, "Come, I'll fix you something. I'll give you a favorite." Since he is a cook after all.
Mm-hmm. And Anselmo is happy about that and
Yeah,
totters along after you. Um, he
he's
also
gonna fix
manages
it.
to find his flask at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got 30 minutes left, but I am not prepared for the heist. So unless we have anything else we
No.
want to do character-wise on deck, then we'll start winding down.
That seems fair. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I might do like a brief mental scan spell on Raoul.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
if you can say your thing, I'm just gonna set that up in the spellcasting thing.
I think Dan's just going to ask Balthazar to come down a bit, just fix something for him to just spend some time with you, just trying to take his mind off what just happened, where they are, and things like that.
Okay, cool. Give me a dexterity and either dexterity or presence and crafts roll. Since this is a stressful situation to be cooking in.
Yeah, I'm gonna do dexterity crafts. You know what? I'm even gonna spend another point of willpower. Fuck it. I know I'm done to one, but I don't care.
You're going to go into another fight with like no willpower again, aren't you?
We said I was going into a fight.
Oh, good.
Oh, seems to
I
be a
mean, next
devious
time.
group. Yeah. Oh,
What?
that's
Why
not
do I
a
bother
joke.
giving you willpower? You just keep spending it. But yeah, you pull together something comforting. You give Anselmo some nice stew, nice hot stew,
Yeah,
that helps them
something hot.
sort of chase off the chill down here with some of the food that you have remaining, and it's good enough that you manage to extract a promise from Anselmo that he won't try to eat anything else from the river.
Good.
Okay, and we had some mental investigation from Wake.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I can cast this. I was gonna do mental scan, but it's withstood by composure. I
Oof.
think Raoul probably has a pretty good composure.
You get that sense. You can try.
Is
Always,
is
you can
is
always roll a
Mr.
chance die.
sharing?
Hmm?
Is Wake sharing any of these concerns about Raoul with Hull?
Not yet. It might be something he brings up next, but he's just gonna check the hunch, I guess.
Okay.
I need to think of a yantra to use. I can
Well,
do
it is a knowing spell or unveiling spell. So any of the standard sort of mirrors or telescopes or sort of bowl yantras would work.
think a
A
mirror would be good.
sympathetic or a sympathetic yantra, if you're not casting using sympathy, still gives bonuses.
Yeah, I'd probably use a sympathetic one then.
Yeah, you could find.
Grab a bit of his hair.
Draw a
You
cute
know,
little picture of him.
let's see. All right, yeah, and then kind of like press it up, maybe against the mirror and kind of, unveil it. Uh, let's do 4 potency.
Okay.
Spending willpower for this. Reach only 1. And a
Okay, cool. So, you cast the spell, you try to focus on sort of getting through into the pattern of Raoul's thoughts, trying to sort of wade through, the cloud of defenses and feelings and emotions and thoughts that overlay his his true thoughts, and you find yourself with nothing. With no, your spell isn't strong enough. You don't have any ability to sort of break through this amount
Holy
of
shit.
composure.
All right. And then so now for sure, Wake is thinking of bringing up the concerns. Because you got nothing.
Notably, it's not a clash of wills, so there's not,
Mhm.
You always know when your spells are clashing. So this, that there's not an active effect contesting you. Just that Raoul is apparently a stubborn motherfucker.
Yeah, not secretly a wizard with mind
Yeah,
spells.
I don't think the concerns that Wake has are more like, oh, is there like, a werewolf or something? If he even knew what that was here. It's more just like Raoul's acting a little bit different,
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're kind of sharing that like Raoul clearly isn't affected in the same way other people are, and
Mhm.
yeah, okay. Hull's going to give him a look with supernal vision, which is her praxis.
I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, I guess you could fish for exceptional, so you can roll if you want to. But otherwise, I'd give it to you for free with one
I'm
potency.
good. I'll always take a free roll. Yeah, because I don't need to overcome withstand with that. So
Okay, so what question?
I should have brought up the list of questions. 1 second. So I automatically know whether he's a sleepwalker or Proximus.
Yep, and he is a sleepwalker. The shard of the you don't see that shard of the abyss within him that you see within others. The forgetting and disquieting.
And I guess I've got 2 questions because of base potency of 2. So I guess the only really relevant questions are how much mana does he have in his pattern, and which supernal world is he most closely aligned?
Not applicable and not applicable, or none and not applicable, rather.
That's understandable, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a sleepwalker, just like what's her face was.
Georgia.
Yeah,
The
I
one
was
who's, I
thinking of
guess.
the ghost summoner.
Oh yeah. Well, she was a
No,
sleeper.
she was a sleeper. Yeah.
Oh, was she? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she just did some rituals. And it was Samara.
Speaking of which, you dropped off Georgia at Nassau, right?
Mhm.
Yes,
Or
she's
okay.
under
Yeah.
the care of how is she called, the lady in the red cutlass, the crimson cutlass.
Molly.
Molly. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wasn't sure if that had happened yet. Okay, cool. So yeah, so how does Hull sort of perceive or understand that abyssal shard normally through her primal wild's understanding of prime?
I think she sees it as like so back when she took a look at Samara, because I'm sure I remember looking at Samara with supernal vision and seeing that she was a sleepwalker. But even still, like she sees it as a kind of not as like here's a sleeper, they've got a shard in their brain. Here's a sleepwalker, they don't. Here's a mage, blah blah blah. She does see it as like a spectrum. It is there is a veil, but it is something you can move through. Permeable nature of all boundaries and all that stuff. So there is one end that is kind of mired in ignorance, that is simply like it's impossible to see the other side from there.
There's a curtain around them.
It's more that like there's too much stuff in the way on their side. They just can't see from their perspective at that end of the spectrum. They just can't see through to the other side. It's not that there's like a definitive line of here is where the thing that is blocking their sight. It's just like where they are on that spectrum. They just can't. They can't even comprehend, magical stuff. So they have that reaction that we've seen. They just can't do it, and they're stuck there. And as seers, Hull and the rest of the Cabal are in a position where they're able to, they can see the entire spectrum. They can, look at things that are even more than their usual perception. They can open their sight and see beyond. But there is that middle area where they have enough perspective to be able to see like there's weird stuff going on, but they can't quite see the whole entirety. They can't see sort of beyond the other side, but they're not stuck in that kind of dark place where they're just completely ignorant. So I guess she doesn't see it as like here's one that has a shard, here's that doesn't. It's that here's somebody who has enough perspective to be able to at least like look at things and at least see some of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that Raoul sort of appears on that spectrum as one who is closer to being able to see, being able to understand, but doesn't have sort of the true understanding, doesn't have gnosis in the way that you and the rest of the company do.
He can see it, but he can't see it.
He can see it, but he doesn't necessarily understand.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And I guess with that revelation, as the lights start to grow brighter on the horizon, we will end there. Cool. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you in. No episode in 2 weeks from now, but after that.